Forget everything you thought you knew about shape layers. The Shaper plugin by GoodBoyNinja opens a window to endless possibilities and some pretty trippy results. Shaper allows you to create complex moving structures in a matter of seconds. Powered by fully customizable animation drivers, you can use different modules to kickstart your trippy animations and tweak the parameters with fine-grained control. You can even layer these modules to create some pretty mind-bending results. Let's jump in. If you decide to pick up this plugin after watching this video, I have a discount code in the description, which will get you 40% off. I'm going to recreate these examples and explain how to use the plugin as I go. So the first thing I'm going to do is just open up the Shaper plugin by going to Windows and then clicking Shaper. And up here on the right, you can see the UI. So let's just play around with this first one. Let's create a flow. So what it's done here is it's created a square shape layer. And if I press play, it's a bit fast here, so I'm going to slow it down. And to do that, I'm just going to turn down the signal maximum, and you can see it a bit better now. So you can see from this diagram at the top right that it's actually moving each vertex around in a square. So let's play with some options here. We can change the sequence, and the sequence is basically the delay from each point. And you'll see what I mean if I up this value to say 20%. And then we have something a bit more interesting here. So it's going around each point in turn and moving it, but now it's got a delay between each point. So you get a really interesting result. I think you could come up with some quite cool like locomotion animations using this. Some like weird creature that moves along the ground using these kind of movements. Let's up it even further, just see what happens. 50%. Now we're seeing a lot of the points kind of overlap because they're delayed by so much. And I think, for example, if we wanted to have a cube moving along the ground, and then if I add the sequence back in. So next we're going to try out the move module. So if I just press apply, it's going to create another square for us, and it's just going to be hovering up and down. Again, if we add some sequence, it's going to delay the movement of each corner by a little bit. Let's try upping the signal maximum to 300%, and that will just make it move up and down with a lot more velocity. It's set to sine as its signal type. There's quite a few different ones. Let's try alert. If you've ever seen a sort of alert notification on your phone, this is the kind of movement that it does. Bounces off the bottom. You can also stack up multiple modules on one path. So I'm going to add a connect module to this shape in addition to the move module. And what this connect module does, it creates a kind of web. You can see it's also moving up and down. So it's having both those effects on it at the same time. In the connect effect, if we up the iterations, you can see it's sort of created a web with quite a few strokes in it now. Turn it down to maybe 3. And in this drop down, we've got a bunch of options. We've got web, which is what we're using right now, and a whole bunch of different patterns that we can use. And I think this would be very cool to use as a kind of visualizer. So right now, the move module and the connect module are both being driven by driver 1. So whatever we change in this driver 1, it will affect both the move and connect. But if we wanted to drive each of these with a separate driver, maybe we wanted one to have a sine movement and we wanted the other one to just continue. So let's change the connect module to use driver 2. Then if we go to driver 2, and we change this to continue. So this means that the connect will just continue on forever. So let's have a look, see what happens. Some pretty interesting effects there. This is one of those plugins where there is just an infinite number of results because it gives you so much customizability in here. Here's a little animation I made with the connect tool where I just added a connect module to a circle and then added a repeater to make a load of circles in a row. And then I added a move module, which moved them along the screen. Here's a little composition I made with the move module where I just created a bunch of different squares and added move modules to them with different signal types. So let's try out the Fractal module now. This is actually one of my favorites. And it's probably also a good time to tell you that you don't have to just click here and generate a square. You can apply this to any shape, any path. So let's create a circle, for example. And we do have to convert this to a Bezier path down here. And I'm going to remove the fill. I'm just going to change the color of the stroke to this green. And I'm going to align this to the center. And now let's add the Fractal module. Before I add the Fractal module, I'm going to go to View and I'm going to uncheck Show Layer Controls. This will improve performance. Okay, let's press Apply and let's press Play. Okay, we've got something interesting going on here. So we've got a fractal effect driven by driver 1. Let's try changing it to just continue, and let's play it again. Okay, so let's stack up another module on top of this now. Let's stack up the spin modifier. So if we just press apply, and what have we got? Pretty trippy. Let's slow down the speed of the spin by changing the signal maximum. I think this would be a pretty cool tool for visualizers. I can imagine driving some of these properties with waveforms from audio. Maybe that'll be for another video. So let's tweak some of the properties of the fractal effect. I'm going to change the size, increase the distance from center. And you can play around with all those options as much as you like, and you can try different shapes to start off with. We went with a circle, but you could just as easily try any other path and just see what result you get. And also you could try any of these other signal types. So the hologram module allows you to create some faux 3D effects with shape layers. So if we press apply here, and it's going to create a square for us, and if we press play, it's kind of simulating this square moving in a 3D manner. And in the hologram effect settings, we can see X is set to 100%. Let's try adding some percent for the other axes, and you can see now it's kind of moving on all the axes in this cool way. This is being driven by driver 1, so if we open up driver 1 and maybe we change the signal type to continue, so instead of going back and forth it should go on forever. So let's see. So it kind of looks like it's just spinning in space or in zero gravity or something. So I don't like the fact that it kind of inverts. So if I'm gonna set the y-axis to 0, and now it's kind of a cooler result where it just kind of spins. Okay, so maybe let's try and stack another module on here. Let's try the reshape module. So the reshape module reshapes your path depending on what you set here in the designer panel. So right now it's just changing between a circle and a square, but because we've got it set to continue, it's just carrying on and on and on and sort of glitching out. So let's set the reshape module to use driver 2, and then we'll go to driver 2. And we want the reshape maybe to be using sine, so it goes back and forth. And now it does the faux 3D effect with the hologram and also reshapes between a square and a circle. So maybe let's try to live dangerously and stack a third module on top of this. Maybe let's try the bevel. Let's have a look. Whoa. That's getting crazy. Okay, so again, it's using driver 1, which is continuing on and on and on and on. So let's set it to using driver 2. Driver 2 is using the sine signal type. So you can see how there's so many possibilities when you start just stacking modules on top of each other. So the ropes module will make your strokes behave like rope and bend in the direction of the ground, depending on the gravity that you set. So if we draw a path here, we have our stroke. Now I'm going to go back to Shaper, and I'm going to apply the ropes module. And let's have a look. Okay, maybe let's increase the signal strength, and now we can see it a bit better. So if you imagine like a sort of washing line where it's pegged to these points and the rest of the strokes fall towards gravity, you can set the threshold, which is the distance between 2 points. If it's below the threshold, then it will move. So this part of the path wasn't moving before, but now I've increased the threshold, it now is. And you can change the direction of the gravity and increase the strength of gravity. Let's try upping the sequence. And then it's sort of almost like a Mexican wave starts moving around. Like I said at the start, guys, I have a discount code in the description which will get you 40% off this plugin. I hope you found this video useful. I'll put links to GoodBoyNinja's website and channel, as well as the Shaper documentation in the description, so definitely go check those out. Check out my Patreon to get access to exclusive project files and asset packs, discount codes on some great plugins, and at the same time support the channel. You can also join the Discord server where you can chat about animation, get feedback on your work from other community members, promote yourself, and more. And as always, guys, see you on the flippity flop.